Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining Shiva class and attentive japa. We are going to go over the last week's class because there was a lot of interference with the broadband. So it's a very nice class. So we thought we just go over it again. So this is about talks between Lord Shiva and Sati. And as you know, those of you who joined earlier in the weeks, that there was like a lot of curses going on between Daksh and Nandishwara, Brahmins. There's a lot of problems going on, fighting going on between them. And now Shiva is talking to Lord Sati. And so it goes like this. So still we got Maitreya, Sri Maitreya, Sage Maitreya talking to Vidur. He's telling these pastimes to him. So we start with Maitreya. Maitreya said, in this manner, the tension between the father-in-law and son-in-law, Daksh and Lord Shiva, continued for a considerable long time. So the previous chapter, we already explained that Vidur questioned the sage Maitreya as to the cause of misunderstanding between Lord Shiva and Daksh. Now, the question is, why the strife between Daksh and his son-in-law caused Sati to destroy her body? So we all know that pastime. The chief reason for Sati's giving up her body was that her father, Daksh, began another sacrificial performance to which Lord Shiva was not invited at all. Generally, when sacrifice is performed, although each and every sacrifice is intended to pacify the Supreme Personality Godhead, Vishnu, all the demigods, especially Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and the other principal demigods, such as Indra and Chandra, are invited and they take part. So it is said that unless all the demigods are present, no sacrifice is complete. And here Daksh is leaving out Lord Shiva, he is one of the main deities. But in the tension between the father-in-law and son-in-law, Daksh began another yajna performance, to which Lord Shiva was not invited. Daksh was the chief progenitor employed by Lord Brahma, and he was son of Brahma, so he had a high position, and he was very proud of his position. So before we're discussing about anger, now we are talking about pride. Let's pray. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Namyate Karim Yat Kirpatam Mandeshi Guru Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshram Hari Om Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tapojayam Kuderiyat Nashta Preshava Vidareshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevya Bhagavati Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Nistiki. So when Lord Brahma appointed Daksh, the chief of all the Prajapatis, the progenitors of population, Daksh became very much puffed up. So this is one of the problems that when we get into high position, we get proud of our position. But we should remember, the higher the position, the bigger the responsibility. We shouldn't get proud. We should get more focused that we have a very big responsibility. Although he was envious and was inimical towards Lord Shiva, Daksh was appointed the chief of all Prajapatis. That was the cause of his excessive pride. When a man becomes too proud of his material possessions, he can perform any disastrous act. And therefore, Daksh acted out of false prestige that is described here. So pride is very dangerous. Daksh began a sacrifice named Vajpaya, and he became excessively confident of his support by Lord Brahma. He then performed another great sacrifice named Brihaspati's Sabha. In the Vedas, it is prescribed that before performing a Brihaspati Sabha sacrifice, one should perform the sacrifice named Vajpaya. While performing the sacrifices, however, Daksh neglected great devotees like Lord Shiva. According to Vedic scriptures, the demigods are eligible to participate in yajnas and share the oblations. But Daksh wanted to avoid them. All sacrifices are intended to pacify Lord Vishnu. But Lord Vishnu includes all his devotees. So God and his paraphernalia, they're all one. They're all his parts. Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other demigods are obedient servants of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Lord Vishnu is never satisfied without them. Well, it's like that. You are invited to some function and they say your children are not welcome. How would you feel? You would not be satisfied. Even if you did go out of duty, you would still not be happy, with the invitation, and you would not remember that the fact that you went there and you might even enjoyed it, but remember the fact that this person did not invite my children. So God and demigods, they are one unit, and God says that if you are calling me, then especially for this yajna, then you have to call the demigods as well. But Daksh, being puffed up with his power, wanting to deprive Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva of participation in the sacrifice. Understanding that if one satisfies Vishnu, it is not necessary to satisfy his followers. So that's what he was going by. He's thinking watering the root, you don't have to water the whole tree. But it just happens that in this case, the rule is that all the demigods, they also take part in this sacrifice. But that is not the process. Vishnu wants his followers to be satisfied first. Lord Krishna says, Mad Bhaktya Puj Bhaya Dika. The worship of my devotees is better than worship of me. Similarly, in the Shiv Puran, it is stated that the best mode of worship is to offer oblations to Vishnu, but better than that is to worship the devotees of Krishna. The Daksh's determination to neglect Lord Shiva in the sacrifice was not fitting. But we have to be careful. What he says here, that does not mean that we worship the demigods and not worship Krishna. You can respect, they're invited through respect, but the worshipper Lord is only Vishnu. And is the only lovable deity as well. We can respect and to some extent worship the demigods when appropriate, but we don't love demigods. Our love is for Krishna. That is the dormant love, is for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is understanding. So while the sacrifice was being performed, many Brahma rishis, great sages, ancestral demigods, and other demigods, their wives, all very nicely decorated ornaments, attended from different parts of the universe. In any auspicious ceremony, such as a marriage ceremony, sacrificial ceremony, and puja ceremony, it is auspicious for married women to decorate themselves very nicely with ornaments, fine clothing, and cosmetics. These are auspicious signs. Many heavenly women assembled with their husbands, the Dev Rishis, demigod, and Raj Rishis, in that great sacrifice named Brihaspati Sav. It is specifically mentioned in this verse that they approached with their husbands. For when a woman is decorated nicely, her husband becomes very cheerful, or more cheerful. The nice decorations, ornaments, and dress of the wives of the demigods and sages, and the cheerfulness of the demigods and sages themselves were all auspicious signs for the ceremony. So the chaste lady Sati, the daughter of Daksh, heard the heavenly denizens flying in the sky, conversing about the great sacrifice being performed by her father. When she saw that from all directions, the beautiful wives of the heavenly denizens, their eyes very beautifully glittering, were near her residence and were going to the sacrifice dressed in fine clothing and ornamented with earrings and necklaces with lockets, She approached her husband, the master of the Bhutas, in great anxiety and spoke as follows. So when Sati hears that everybody's going, but she's not going, she becomes perplexed that it's my house, my father's house, so I don't need invitation. I really need to go, but then she doesn't want to go on her own. She wants to go with the husband. So she speaks to Lord Shiva and she says, it appears that the residence of Lord Shiva, actually Prabhupada explaining that it appears that the residence of Lord Shiva was not on this planet, but somewhere in outer space. Otherwise, how could Sati have seen the airplanes coming from different directions towards this planet and heard the passengers talking about the great sacrifice being performed by Daksh? Sati is described here as Dakshani because she was daughter of Daksh. The inferior demigods like the Gandharvas, Kinnars, and Uruks were not exactly demigods, but between the demigod and the human beings, they were also coming in planes. They were passing right near her residential quarters. The dress and bodily features of the wives of the heavenly deities are very nicely described here. Their eyes moved, the earrings and the other ornaments glittered and glared. Their dresses were the nicest possible, and all of them had special lockets on their necklaces. Each one was accompanied by a husband. Thus, they looked so beautiful that Sati Dakshani was impelled to dress similarly and go to the sacrifice with her husband. That is a natural inclination of a woman. So Sati was impelled to go, whatever the circumstances or whatever the result of her visit, she was really compelled, she felt compelled that she has to go. Sati said, my dear Lord Shiva, your father-in-law is now executing great sacrifices, and all the demigods, having been invited by him, are going there. If you desire, we may also go. Sati knew the tension between her father and husband, but still she expressed to her husband, Lord Shiva, that since such sacrifices were going on at her father's house, and so many demigods were going, she also desired to go, but she could not express her willingness directly, and so she told her husband that if he desired to go, then she could also accompany him. Although she was the one who wants to go really, but he said, I'll come along if you like to go. In other words, she submitted her desire very politely to her husband. I think that all my sisters must have gone to this great sacrificial ceremony with their husband just to see their relatives. I also desire to decorate myself with the ornaments given to me by my father and go there with you to participate in that assembly. So it is a woman's nature to want to decorate herself with ornaments and nice dresses and accompany her husband to social functions, meet friends and relatives, and enjoy life in that way. This propensity is not unusual for women, is the basic principle of material enjoyment. Therefore, in Sanskrit, the word of woman is istri, which means one who expands the field of material enjoyment. In the material world, there is an attraction between woman and man. This is the arrangement of conditioned life. A woman attracts a man, and in that way, the scope of material activities, which involves a house, wealth, children, friendship, increases, and thus instead of decreasing one's material demands, one becomes entangled in material enjoyment. So it just shows that for Grastas, it is very difficult to give up all these things, because while we are giving up, these things, they keep expanding as well. We have so many stages in life that different stages come in, and we are captured by them. Lord Shiva, however, is different. Therefore, his name is Shiva. He is not at all attracted by material enjoyment. Although his wife Sati was the daughter of a very great leader and was given to him by the request of Brahma, Lord Shiva was reluctant, but Sati, as a woman, the daughter of a king, wanted enjoyment. She wanted to go to her father's house, just as her other sisters might have done, and meet them and enjoy social life. Here, she specifically indicated that she could decorate herself with the ornaments given by her father. She didn't say that she would decorate herself with the ornaments given by her husband, because her husband was callous about all such matters. He did not know how to decorate his wife and take part in social life because he was always in ecstasy with thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So according to Vedic system, a daughter is given sufficient dowry at the time of her marriage. And therefore, Sati was also given a dowry by her father, and ornaments were included. It is also the custom that the husband gives some ornaments. But here it is particularly mentioned that her husband, being materially almost nothing, could not do so. Therefore, she wanted to decorate herself with the ornaments given by her father. And plus, she thought that if I'm wearing these ornaments, then my father will be happy to see me, that he'll remember that, oh, yes, I gave her these ornaments, and now she's wearing, looking so nice with them. It was fortunate that for Sati that Lord Shiva did not take the ornaments from his wife and spend them for ganja. This is Prabhupada saying, because those who imitate Lord Shiva in smoking ganja exploit everything from household affairs. So it's shown that it's very dangerous when we start imitating higher authority. You start imitating them, then we misunderstand and we misuse that, we misuse copying them. They take all their wives' property and spend on smoking, intoxication, and similar other activities. My sisters, my mother's sisters, and their husbands and other affectionate relatives must be assembled there. So if I go, I shall be able to see them, and I shall be able to see the flapping flags and the performance of the sacrifice by the great sages. For these reasons, my dear husband, I am very much anxious to go. So Sati is explaining the reasons why she's so anxious and so many things. She's picturing that I'll be doing this, I'll be doing this. She created excitement, and she's hoping that the excitement would rub off on her husband as well. As stated before, the tension between the father-in-law and son-in-law persisted for a considerable time. Sati had therefore not gone to her father's house for a long while. So she was very anxious to go to her father's house, particularly because on that occasion her sisters and their husbands and her mother's sisters would be there. So she was hoping that she could see everybody under one place and in a auspicious occasion as well, and everybody would be happy and dressed up. So she was hoping that she could meet them once more. So as is natural for a woman, she wanted to dress equally to her other sisters and also be accompanied by her husband. She did not, of course, want to go alone because they were all coming with their husbands. So she wanted to make sure that she was with her husband as well. This manifested cosmos is a wonderful creation of the interaction of the three material modes or the external energy of the Supreme Lord. This truth is fully known to you, yet I am but a poor woman. And as you know, I am not conversant with the truth. Therefore, I wish to see my birthplace once more. So Dakshayani Sati knew very well that her husband, Lord Shiva, was not very much interested in the glaring manifestation of the material world, which is caused by the interaction of the three modes of nature. Therefore, she dressed her husband as Aja, which refers to one who has transcended the bondage of birth and death, or the one who has realized his eternal position. She stated the illusion of accepting the perverted reflection, the material or cosmic manifestation to be real is not present in you because you are self-realized. For you, the attraction of social life and the consideration that someone is father, someone is mother, someone is sister, which are illusionary relationships, is already over. But because I am a poor woman, I'm not so advanced in the transcendental realization. Therefore, naturally, these appear to me as real. Only less intelligent persons accept this perverted reflection of the spiritual world to be real. Those who are under the spell of external energy accept this manifestation to be fact, whereas those who are advanced in spiritual realization know that it is illusion. Actual reality is elsewhere in the spiritual world. But as far as I'm concerned, Sati said, I don't have much knowledge about self-realization. I am poor because I don't know the actual facts. I'm attracted by my birthplace and I want to see it. So one who has attraction for his birthplace, for his body, And for other such items mentioned in Bhagavatam, is considered to be like an ass or a cow. Sati might have heard only this many times from her husband, Lord Shiva, but because she was a woman, Yoshit, she still hankered after the same material objects of affection. The word Yoshit means one who is enjoyed. Therefore, a woman is called Yoshit. In spiritual advancement, association with Yoshit is always restricted, because if one is like a play doll in the hands of a Yoshit, then all his spiritual advancement is at once stopped, it is said. O never born, O blue-throated one, not only my relative, but also other women dressed in nice clothes and decorated with ornaments are going there with their husbands and friends. Just see how their flocks of white airplanes have made the entire sky very beautiful. So Rudra Lord Shiva is actually born from between the eyes of Brahma, who is called Sambhu, because he is not born of any human being or material desire creature, but he is born directly from the lotus flower which grows from the abdomen of Vishnu. So this is Toma Brahma. When Lord Shiva is addressed as above, this may be taken to mean one who has never felt material miseries. Sati wanted to impress on her husband that even those who were not related to her were also going, to say nothing of herself, who was intimately related with him. And this was her problem. She thinking everybody is going, everybody is something is going, and she is actually the favorite daughter of Daksh. So why isn't she going? So Lord Shiva is dressed as blue-throated. Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison and kept it in his throat, not swallowing it or allowing it to go down to his stomach, and thus his throat became blue. So anyway, we know that that's a separate pastime, but it also shows that we can't imitate Lord Shiva. He's a very high authority, has a very high position, and a lot of people try to imitate him. So Sati here is acting like ignorant, although she knows everything, but she's saying because she's a woman, she's not as self-realized as Lord Shiva, and so she has this compulsion that she has to go, and against actually Lord Shiva's advice, and we can carry that on next time as well and read further what Sri Prabhupada says about this pastime. So thank you all so much for joining. Jai Prabhu, welcome. Pada Prabhu, welcome. Pravi Mataji, welcome. And Srishi Mataji. Thank you all so much for joining. We couldn't really conclude this last week properly because we were on and off. So I'm glad that we managed to do this again today, and we'd love to hear your views on this. We'll start with the Partha Prabhu first of all. Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, that's a nice pastime. I was thinking like this is actually very general thing which happens in our life. I felt, Prabhuji, like I'm in UK right now, so I don't have that this pastime going on in my life at moment. But when I was in India, this is regular thing. Like we always have some obligations where we need to go and attend. But it's very nice that Parvati Mata is trying to convince this much discussion. But nowadays we don't have this much discussion. They decide and tell us what they want to do. So maybe from this pastime we have to understand like how one need to talk to each other as well and try to make justification of why we are doing it. And again, this pastime is telling us about the like glorification of Lord Shiva at the same time.
So, Partha Prabhu, so how should, because the point is that Lord Shiva was insulted before by her father, and now he's insulted him again, because obviously when they're not invited, then everybody's going to know, all the relatives, all the friends, even the lesser gods, they will all know that they weren't present. And I mean, Shiva, it's not that you're likely to miss him. No, when I say miss him, I mean like it's not like notice that Lord Shiva is not there because he's a very exalted deity. So it's even more insulting for him and his wife, isn't it? but I'm just wondering whether she wants to go and like to avoid that extra insult, because if they're not there, then it's quite insulting. And if they do go, then it'll be. She's hoping that they will just get away with it and they can just join in, and things can be normal. Maybe I don't know what her thoughts are. What do you think? Why does she still wants to go, even though her husband is not being invited, which is an insult, and he was insulted before as well by her father.
Yeah, I mean, on this point, we had very good discussion when Sri Vrindavan, Vrindavan Mataji does this Bhagavatam class in the evening time.
Yeah.
So it's a tough point, but I felt Prabhuji that time also that Lord Shiva know that it's going to be not to be a good situation even after we go there. So that's why Lord Shiva doesn't want to go there again. He don't want his wife to get insulted as well at the same time. That's why he tries to avoid going there. That's what Prabhuji. No
Yeah.
more.
See, the thing is, when he is insulted, his wife is automatically insulted because she's connected with him, right? They're automatically insulted. So what I would like to know is that, so one yoga happened a long time ago. Now another yoga is happening. Why didn't they try to reconcile in between? Why has it been left for next yoga to happen, and then find that they're not invited? Maybe they should have tried to resolve the matter after the first incident, isn't it? If they had done that, then this situation would not be there today. In this case, yeah.
Nice.
But they didn't try to resolve it. Neither side tried to resolve the problem or find a solution or an explanation. The father-in-law could say, "Look, I was upset because of this reason," and the son-in-law could say, "Well, I didn't get up because of this reason," and they try and compromise on some point. But neither party tried to resolve. Now, Sati Sandi wants to go to the function, but why didn't she talk to? She's very persuasive. Now, why did she persuade him to go and sort out the matters with the Daksh before? She should have used this persuasive technique before, not now. Somebody's thinking.
Yeah, nice point, Prabhuji. Actually, thought-provoking message. We need to think more on this one, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Puri Mataji?
Haribol Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam to everyone. I think I'll pass it to Mataji to give
anything you like to say? Anything you noticed in there, Mataji?
No, because in my head always going like, oh, Parvati Mata was just like us, because that's what we do. Oh, because I remember one instance where my husband had to say no, because like one of my aunties, she stopped talking to us. And then I found out that she was in a home. Her children had put her in a home. So I was very keen to go and look after her. Like once a week, I said to my husband, I can go. And he said, no, you're going to come back crying and this and that, So because I was very keen to do it, so I wasn't thinking of the consequences. So, but I had to face the consequences. Then I saw my cousin in the temple once, and I was so happy to see him, and he just refused to talk to me. So, and then I did cry for a minute, but then because I went to listen to the katha, then I said, no, Krishna is with me. So why am I crying? Why I'm running after these people, if they don't want to know me? So I think women, we think differently. We've got a different cone, our heart is softer and we think we can make things work. Whereas people, you can't change people. People, if they got like, what I feel like is people, they have like certain knots in their hearts and they don't want to undo them. So now I realize, it's no point wasting time. So you can be nice, but don't expect the same from them. Whereas like until now, I've been thinking like, if you're nice, everybody's nice. So I've been living in a very, big delusion, or, I was very naive. So I don't know. I think it is a womanly thing, but then some women are strong. They don't care. Because like my mother-in-law, I asked her, there was like her sister-in-law, they were not speaking for all these years, and now, because they were living with me. So I said, Mom, would you like to go and see Auntie? I can take you. She said, no, we haven't seen for so many years. So she didn't want to bother now. Whereas I would be saying, oh yeah, we'll go and see them, because I'm different. So my heart is different. So I don't know.
Thank you, Aditi. That's a good point. That's good. Thank you, Aditi.
Edible.
And now, Prem, you are listening, but you will make some really good points last week, and I would love to hear from you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, I mean, kind of. I know I missed the class today, but I thought
Same
that
class,
was
same class last week.
yeah. The important thing is a heart. I mean, it's a there is a woman has a power to heal basically, and the other has other power, other thing that I mean, I'm just guessing because it's not mentioned as such. Is that Sati Mata would have some uh, believe that he will have some say because she was one of the favorite daughter of Daksha. She would have say that he knew his father will change, or he knew she knew her father wouldn't do such things. So that kind of conviction was there in her, and she believed that if she go there, then probably she can talk to her father and get the things on the right track. So these things might be there, and as per Shastra, I mean, she gave a nice examples that if you go there in a family members in a father's house, you can go there without invitation. I mean, that's Shastric. But then Shivji also tells that you can go there as long as they are happy seeing you, not insults there. So the counter arguments are also there. But she wanted to make things better, and if not, she wanted to see from her eyes that how can the things go wrong, and that's the reason she went there, and that's the reason she wanted to convince her husband. The other reason is attachment. She wants to demonstrate is that women are considerate. They, even the things goes wrong in life, they would still try to reconsider the thing and give a second chance. That if the second chance would come, they are ready to forget the things those are happening, and they are able, if the person is there, they are happy to get the things corrected. So they are ready to give that chance, which is not very common with the men basically. If you see from the, I'm not talking about men and women, but the nature of men. By the nature of men are like very strong in their opinion, and then if the things have gone wrong, they wouldn't consider. But the nature of women is that they will give chance, and then they will even because it's nature, feminine nature to I mean, not to serve, but I mean, not saying exactly that to serve, but as we see that the only Purush is Krishna, and all living entities are feminine by nature, and the nature of feminine is to serve the Supreme. Similarly, if we take in the material nature, the nature of woman is to serve um, her husband, and then um, the thing. So she wanted to do a service to Lord Shiva, that she wants to take a stand on his behalf, to make sure that if he is insulted, and if he talks to his and she talks to her father, then he would understand that how exalted Lord Shiva is. The other thing is that she felt that there's a strong it's a right to be in the ceremony. How come? And there's another nature is there's something, a strong belief, or a kind of uh, I wouldn't say, I can't find the word, but if you find a word, let me know. Then it's a nature is that I have a right to be present in my family functions. And now that turns out very, very in a different way, even in current situation. So if my if my immediate family is having a function, even if we are not invited, we still believe that it's our right to be in that function, because the invitations are not given to very own persons. I mean, person you are very intimate to. So she thought that it will be all right if she would be there in the function. But there's always a mixed feeling. So there's so much emotions going on. There's almost a mixed feeling. And she was also prepared to take revenge of the insult in some way. And which she eventually did. So there's so many thought processes, why she would go, um, which are spoken and which are not spoken, to a ceremony where her husband is not invited. But eventually, as Lord Shivji is Mahajan, so Mahajans are great devotee of the Lord, and they know past, present, and future. They know how the things will turn up. They understand the nature of people. So he knew what's going to happen. It's another lesson is there that if we are not sure of ourselves enough, then it's our duty to surrender to the high authority, to Guru Maharaj, and then accept whatever is coming through. There's another lesson is there. Otherwise, the things would actually might not go in a favor, or might not go in a way we think they will go. So if somebody is more enlightened to guide us spiritually, rather we should accept that. It's not just spiritually, even materially. If somebody has experienced that somebody is going to burn finger, or actually if they write a, if, I mean, if it's raining, you don't need someone. If it's raining and somebody asks you to take umbrella, you just take umbrella. You don't consider that. I mean, whether it's you will be still dry. You don't go with the hunch that once you step out, it will stop raining. So if someone is elevated and somebody is spiritually, especially somebody is spiritually elevated, and especially someone is spiritual master, and going further, and especially if someone is Mahajan, you take the advice straightforward. You don't actually reconsider your own opinion to be more strong or higher than that. Even if you're materially very strong, as much higher as Goddess Sati in this case. So that's a great learning for us. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Thank you. Some great points there. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that she's hoping she could go and sort out the situation, but I mean, what I say is, why didn't you do it beforehand? Why leave it till last minute, or why leave it till they don't get invited? They should have resolved this matter. I'm sure there's like a big gap between two sacrifices. They should have tried to resolve it before the next sacrifice. I'm sure they knew the process, that this yoga comes first and then second one. So before it got to that, they should have tried to resolve it instead of trying to hope that she could go there and her father will melt and go look past his pride and give her the opportunity to be her daughter, to be his daughter. But his pride was too strong, that he didn't care enough for his daughter. uh, he cared more about his pride, seemingly, about his dishonor that he felt in the assembly
Yes,
previously.
sir. I'm just thinking is that, just suppose I'm very bad at it actually. So I'm just thinking, just suppose if sometimes it happens that someone actually doesn't invite. I mean, as insulted someone. I mean, very favorite to me. I mean, very dear to me. I mean, and I had a good relationship with the person, and he is trying to do the same mistake again. I will try to console the person. I mean, on a in a better note, but I might also try to give a guilt feeling to that person, saying that, oh, you didn't invite that, you didn't invite, or, I mean, not to invite, but look, you did a mistake again. You're doing a mistake again by not inviting someone. And look, and you can get away with it, but now in front of you, how can you escape me? I mean, I'm just trying to say is that, uh, I mean, because it's going in a different way as well. So Parvati Mata might have thought that, I mean, on lighter note, it is that Daksha might have forgot to invite. On a heavier note is that, how come Daksha or my father didn't invite my husband? So I'll go and show him that I'm here. So he might realize that, and he might realize that although he has not invited Lord Shiva, but that is not right thing to do. And I can counter argument with him, or talk to him, or actually fight with him in some sense, or present my argument. Why you wouldn't invite my husband? Why you wouldn't invite my husband is a big ego. It's not ego, but it's big support to my husband, that you didn't invite my husband, and I'm here to prove that you should have invited him. And I'm going to present my argument here. So it might be one of the many reasons that Sati Mata was there to have a good conversation with Daksha, is that you should have invited Lord Shiva and to present him. And because it was in her heart somehow, she wanted to take it out. And the best place, the right person to take it out was Daksha. And the right opportunity to take it out was that assembly. Because if you do it in person, basically, it doesn't matter to anyone. The insult was done in front of his assembly. So there was another opportunity which was not there between these two yagyas. So another opportunity was only this yagya, where this issue could have been resolved, and that's why probably she didn't do it earlier. Does it make sense? I mean, my thought process makes sense to you. I don't know. I'm because I'm filled with a lot of resentments, a lot of hatred, and a lot of envy. So I'm trying to think in that way, basically.
Yeah, I personally think that I think say if I was in Dakshi's position and to be told that I made a mistake, be told again in assembly that I made a mistake, I'll be more offended. You know, that because he's already so pumped up that he can't make a mistake. You know, he already made a decision that this is how I'm going to do the sacrifice. And Lord Shiva was not invited, although that's an injunction, Vedic injunction, that all the demigods should be invited, especially the main deities. But he made a decision: it's my way or the highway. So he made a decision, and then his youngest daughter comes and tells him that he made a mistake. That would just put fuel over the fire.
Infuriate. You're thinking from Daksha's perspective, and I'm thinking from Sati Mata's perspective.
Yeah.
You see, I mean, obviously, and exactly that. We see that he got infuriated. He got more infuriated. He didn't actually receive her well. So you are right. You are right from the Daksha's presenting Daksha's perspective, what's happening, and I'm trying to figure out the Sati Mata's perspective, that how come, being my favorite daughter of yours, you have not invited my husband is there, and you have not you insulted him, not just insulted him in his previous assembly, and now you are having another assembly. Either you shouldn't have had this assembly, or you should have also invited and apologized to my husband. And that was the reason she wanted to go defend her husband, and that was the right opportunity. And there are a lot many other feelings which is going on. We just talked about.
Absolutely.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Going back to the point, I think what you said previously, I understood that why could not Mother Parvati could resolve this even before the yajna. That was the point, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I like that way. Like instead of choosing this yajna and going to have a debate there, like why you did not invite my husband, I am here. You could have solved it even before that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of time.
Yeah, that I
Yeah,
like. Bhakti
yeah, that is there, but you see that there is also a soft corner of consideration, right? So he did something which is wrong, and now he's going to repeat the incident. You see, he's by not inviting Lord Shiva is also an insult. So he did an insult earlier, and now Daksha is again insulting. You see, so this is not a right thing for a person to keep on repeating his mistakes again and again. So until that is corrected, if it is not corrected this time, then that mistake will continue. And looking from Jagdamba's perspective, I mean, from the perspective that she's I mean, obviously in the story, in the past time, everyone is playing their roles, but these personalities are also aware of their original tattva position. So from the tattva position, it's it is her duty as well to correct this mistake. Do you see that coming? Because she's mother of all living entity, despite of being daughter of the Daksha.
Yeah, and what she thought that was the limit. Now it's gone too far. Enough is enough, and let's make a break now. Either he accepts us, or I will finish everything. I think that's what.
Yeah.
We don't know what was going in her head. Was she just thinking the father will welcome her with open arms? Because that's what's suggested. Or was she thinking that either he accepts us now, or this is the final call? Either he accepts us, or we'll finish everything with him. I think
Yeah.
could be either. Good points, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Swashi Mataji, what's your stand on this? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody discussed it thoroughly, well, went into deep. And it's nice pastime. It's described in Ramayana as well, very, very well about this Sati and Lord Shiva. And what I can say is that the mind is very, very powerful, and it is very hard to control the mind. Well, Sati wasn't as powerful as Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva can control his mind. It's so controlled that he meditates, 24 hours, or sometimes so many years, thousands and thousands of years he meditated. And he can control his mind. Because mind is such a thing that, first of all, the function of the mind is to think about something. When you think, then you feel about it. And then when you feel like doing about it. So same situation with the Sati. When seeing the people going to the father's house, she was thinking about it. She was thinking about the sacrifice. And then she had a feeling she wanted to go and see the relatives and meet the mothers, sisters, the mother, all the relatives. And then she was determined. She was determined to go, and even Lord Shiva explained to her that you shouldn't go, and because we have some misunderstanding with the father, he didn't invite us. You shouldn't go to a place uninvited. If never go to friends or relatives' house. You can go anytime, but when there's a function, you shouldn't go because it's an insult. They might not receive you very well. She explained all this too, but she was so determined. Sometimes when you're determined about anything, no matter how people tell you, it's just like you're not hearing. You're not hearing a person. Your mind is always made up. So Sati's mind was already, she knew that father don't like her husband. She never thought of the father. She was thinking of herself only. And then Prabhupada always says that people who think their place is worshipable, like she was thinking. She wanted to see him, wanted to see the birthplace. And then you go to the bath, to the sacred places, pilgrimage, and don't meet uh, wise people who can tell you about self-realization. Then he was like an S. So she was so determined that she couldn't hear no advice, no from Lord Shiva. And then he went there to her father's place. So it's very control to control the mind, and everybody can't control the mind. So you have to, Krishna tells you how to control the mind and put your mind on to Krishna. So we don't our mind doesn't go here and there. So that's what I was thinking, that her mind was so powerful in thinking about sacrifices and the family that she didn't listen to nobody, and she was determined to go. And then they have the consequences over to, if you don't listen to people when they tell you what to do, and when you don't listen to the people, then sometimes you have to have the consequences about the thing. So that's what I said, that it was in her mind, everything. She was so determined, she couldn't listen to nobody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mother. Yes, a very good perspective. And thank you for adding that. Yeah, that the mind can play tricks on us. And if you're not strong, if you're not spiritually, well, I don't know. I mean, I would expect Sati Mata to be very, very spiritually strong, but in this case, the mind took better of her and caused this issue. Thank you so much, Mataji. I think we've got time just for one round. And especially Mataji, shall we do a round and finish off? Thank you so much.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasaya Bhutale Srimati